Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we've got 7 games on Thursday night here for you guys in the NBA. Also have 3 game videos, little bonus game video for you. Normally have 2. Threw an extra one out there today for you guys, and our player props as well that we're looking to stay hot on. Had a really good week so far. Some weird stuff last night with guys not playing, getting hurt. So we'll look to get a little bit luckier with who is playing tonight as we pick those. So definitely want to make sure to like and subscribe. Continue to follow along with us. Also head to thelines.com. You can check out everything we're talking about there and more in written form, and use that odds finder tool we have up there. Go ahead and make sure you're getting the best juice back on all those bets and get the best odds available from those U.S. sports books, getting you guys NBA bets this season. Nate, let's jump into that 7-game slate and then talk Clips and Bucks.
Yeah, we'll break down that first game for you. Lakers -1 right now at the Pacers with LeBron and AD playing, maybe Halliburton returning for the Pacers. Also looking at Grizz +6 at Cleveland. Money line's almost +200 there. Grizz are on a back-to-back, but we think they should have their backcourt here. Miami is -2 at the Knicks in an intriguing battle there. Hornets +6 at the Bulls. Pelicans +4.5 at Dallas. Warriors are on a back-to-back after an overtime loss, so they're +12 at Denver. Never know who's going to sit there. And then the game we're talking here, Clips +4.5 at Bucks. Totals at 230. I was hoping it would go up, but in fact, other people are looking at these numbers as a little askew as well and have bet it down a couple points to 230. Because the Clippers have just been insanely efficient on offense lately, scoring 120 in their last 7, despite punting one game where they scored 99. Bucks playing at an insanely high pace, the league high 109 pace in that span. But yeah, some of these games are just not competitive, like Detroit, Indy without Halliburton, Nola without Zion. And then they didn't cover, and they did go under against Denver's backups and a Charlotte Hornets team that certainly doesn't have the same defensive weaponry as the Clips. And that's what I've been focusing on a lot this year, is like, when Paul George is in or out. When he's in, I actually like the Clippers to win with defense. I don't think he's having the greatest offensive year, but he might be having one of his better defensive seasons. And Kawhi, of course, ridiculously efficient in his last 6, 148 offensive rating, basically dragging the Clips to that sort of insane production, even though they're playing at the 4th slowest pace. So they're Ty Lue always trying to adjust things based on who he's playing, and I think the 3-point defense is going to be the key here. Bucks are scoring an insanely high points off threes in this span. They're still 22nd in paint points, 24th in fast break points. Somehow, I still don't understand how they're playing at this pace, but they're dead last in free throw rate. And denying free throws top 4 in that department. So there are unders coming here. I mean, their last game did go under. 230 is not as high as you would like it, but I again think the Clips slow it down, 93 pace in their last 7 roadies. And then you look at some of the individual splits for these guys, because they don't often face alpha wings like each other. Giannis rolled through the Clips without PG and Kawhi in February last year, but in the previous meeting, Clippers won 129-105. Previous meeting, that was with just Kawhi when they had both PG and Kawhi. Milwaukee won, but it was 105-100. So very low scoring. Kawhi's only got a 108 offensive rating. His last 4 versus Giannis, 23 points per game. PG, 21 points per game, 95 rating. And Giannis's numbers are down a little bit too, going up against these guys. So as long as there's some negative regression for Milwaukee, which is just like hitting an insane clip of threes against these, again, non-competitive teams, then I think we probably won't have as high a scoring game as you might expect. We should have a close one, which is why I think the Clips, maybe my favorite bet is Clips +8 with whatever you want to tease it with. Maybe you don't want to touch the total because it's been pretty wonky in terms of how these teams are home road scoring. But I think the Clippers are going to be competitive in this one for sure. They've won every game that they've gone out to win lately, and I think the Bucks haven't really faced this tier of competition since they got the band back together.
Yeah, the band back together just basically being Kawhi. Well, for both these teams, yeah, you could say that that's the narrative of the season. Yeah, let's just, like I said to you before this video, let's just go ahead and throw out the caveat that we can't control if Paul George decides 17 seconds before tip that his hamstring is flaring up and he's not playing. So obviously everything we talk about is with the caveat that these teams are going to be playing at much more full strength than they've been for the majority of the season. I was scared of an under at first because of the fact that, in the last 10 games, and I sort of just used the last 10 knowing there's been some form of Kawhi PG in and out throughout the last 10. There's been some form of Giannis missing a few games and Middleton missing some as well in the last 10. So all that's understood, but really just using that as a big sample size for here, comparing it also to just the way that they've played against each other in their last bunch of matchups, which you kind of point out, it's not like we've had the full sort of rosters on each side in their recent history to really be able to use that as a strong gauge. But when, most of the time this is going under, roughly like 232 or whatever, you can find this at. I think it's still at 230 and a half right now is probably the best under you're going to find in this game. But either way, like for this to go under would require a few things. The Bucks to shoot a poor percentage from three, or at least not make a ton of threes. And for the Clippers to rebound after they, have good defensive possessions, where I do think that they're going to be able to limit a bit more, of what Milwaukee wants to do, similar to what you were saying a minute ago. If that's the case, it's really a matter of, are they going to rebound the ball after they play that good defense? And in their last 10, they have been, top ninth basically in defensive rebound percentage and limiting second chance points. Actually been about sixth in that. And that those are really the biggest places right now. I mean, points in the paint often seem huge, but really, it's just Giannis scoring in the paint. So are you stopping Giannis to some degree, or at least slowing him down? And I think to your point, like Ty Lue's really got to make that decision. Are you going to go ahead and lock up the 3-point line? Because in their last 10, while teams have been shooting, not a horrible percentage from three against the Clippers, they have been limiting the attempts that teams are even shooting from three, getting out there on the wings when Paul George, Kawhi, Batum even are all out there, and Norman Powell as well, who's like a 6'3" dude with a 6'11" wingspan. Now you've got like 3 to 4 dudes who really guard the wing really well. That's why they're running them off the line and forcing them to play a bit more inside. If that's the case, now you're just talking about having a little bit less force down low to be able to defend against Giannis. So Ty Lue's really got to make that decision of, is he going to give up a bit more, is he going to hawk the 3-point line with those guys, or is he going to pack it in a bit more to ensure that Giannis has a wall of defenders before he can get below the free throw line as he's getting ahead of speed, right? And I think Ty Lue, as well as anybody, is going to be able to do that job. And I think you do limit the 3-pointers a lot more, because if guys like Grayson Allen, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Pat Connaughton, even when Wes Matthews and George Hill are in there, if those guys start raining threes, then everything's open for Giannis at that point. So I do think you want to run them off the line and keep things a little bit clogged out there, and then do what you can down low. Obviously, Zoo might be getting a few more minutes tonight to be able to hang with Brook Lopez as much as possible. So I do see the advantage there for Milwaukee, but I still think, if the Clippers are going to play at the pace that they've been playing, I don't see how they get much further over that. Even against the Spurs, they obviously, it wasn't even really pace. It was just that they were pissed probably that they barely beat the Spurs last time, and Kawhi went clean off, which is why that game went to about 238 or so. But other than that, with the pace being what it is, and when you're playing a good defensive team like Milwaukee, for the Clippers, I think we see what they do, right? They play the Cavs, they go under. They play the Mavs, they go under. But they play the Spurs or the Lakers, or Spurs twice, Lakers or the Hawks, and we're talking about teams that just hemorrhage points. And I think that's why this is a bit more of a defensive battle with these two teams sort of taking away what the other one likes to do well, and I think that'll be the case in this one.
That's exactly what I was going to look at. Yeah, it's like when they're playing good defensive teams, it's either them struggling to score when they were in that funk, or them holding the other team in check, like holding Boston to 116, or holding Dallas to 98 in a win at Dallas there. Yeah, it's like one of the two teams is going to struggle to score at times, because you have such a good defensive coach in Lou, and such good wing defenders in the Clips. And so I think that's why under is convincing, but it's like also that's why the Clippers are probably going to hang around and probably cover 4. It's a little on that dividing line. That's why I think it is a good opportunity to tease with another game. But I think it's still like kind of a toss up, because the Clippers are playing really well now. They're starting to be that team that everybody thought they would be in the offseason because Kawhi is really rounding into form.
And that's what it comes down to. Are they trying? Do they need this game? Looking on the horizon for them, is there a reason to feel like they need to sit these guys? I mean, they're in Milwaukee. They've got a night off before they have to play in the Knicks, on Friday night, where I think they'll also be pretty ready to play. But I mean, this is sort of a bigger game for them, in my opinion, against a team that, like, there's been a lot of finals predictions that include the Bucks and the Clippers, right? So I think you're going to get a sort of postseason style game from both these teams, and that is all the time that we have for you. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Check out all 3 game videos we have up for you and our player props video. And until we see you next, happy betting.